This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today. As man, it kind of appears we're almost really into those dog days of summer now. One thing I want to address is I've gotten a lot of comments on that Ken Holland video in which I talked about possibly being done for the summer. That's it. That's all. Are you satisfied? That was my big question in the video the other night. And basically that is to this point of this video as well, is there's not much left. And I mean, yeah, okay, you can probably sign a third line center to a PTO and find a way to deal someone in camp, but essentially nothing more is really probable in my estimation until the end of August, beginning of September, right? Obviously September 1st, that first week of September, we could start seeing big Oilers news generating once again. But for right now, I think what Edmonton Oilers news and notes and stuff during the day is going to become for probably the next, August 8th to probably about the 18th, 20th, the next 10, 12 days, almost 10 to 14 days, what it's going to become is a bunch of bow tying, a bunch of this is this that, this done, this done, this done, all right, ducks in a row. And then you start signing players to PTOs, you start signing players to ATOs, you start doing a lot of stuff to generate that buzz again come the end of August, beginning of September. But for right now, as I said, we've kind of hit that lull. Today, though, is one of those days where you're going to have some kind of news, but really non-significant news. One of the news items I'm going to discuss is no news is the same news, is breaking news, is absolutely why are we still talking about this when we've known this since April kind of news. You can probably guess what I'm talking about there. And the other news for you, those of you who don't follow who the Pittsburgh Penguins signed entry-level contracts at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on a Thursday in August, well, this one's for you because the Edmonton Oilers have, because of the Pittsburgh Penguins signing a certain player to an entry-level contract, completed a trade with Pittsburgh, and in return for John Marino, who signed that entry-level deal with the Pittsburgh Penguins, have now fully acquired, not conditionally, fully acquired that 6th round pick in 2021. The condition on that pick was either he had to sign with Pittsburgh before the 2021 draft, obviously, so as he could, so as he could actually use that draft pick, or he had to be traded to another team before the 2021 draft because you need to be able to use that draft pick. So the condition has been met, signed to a 2-year deal with Pittsburgh. Unfortunate in a word because, I mean, you always want to see your players you draft end up in the big leagues with your team at some point. But with the Oilers prospects and the way it shook out for John Marino, it wasn't in the cards. And that's fair, that's fine. That is what it is. That's the way it goes in the NHL for a lot of draft picks. So, where does that leave us? Well, John Marino leaves us with, as I mentioned, that 6th round draft pick in 2021. That leaves us with 6 draft picks for the 2020 year, except for the 3rd round pick is conditional with the Milan Lucic-James Neal trade. And then you've got the 2021 draft where we have all 7 of ours so far, plus a Pittsburgh 6th. So what does that mean realistically? That means just more ammunition in the cupboard for Mr. Ken Holland, our general manager, when he goes to make a trade, say next week, if we see anything before the end of August, in September in training camp, in October, November, December, January, February. Whenever we see a trade, we could very well see that Pittsburgh 6th added to make the deal work. And I mean, it's a softener, right? It's just that throw it in. It doesn't cost us anything because John Marino was really just space, not even air, in the tires of the Edmonton Oilers machine, if you get where I'm going. So now, okay, all right, look at that. Got a 6th to kind of crap away in a deal. Well, who do you crap it away in? My preference would be a deal, ideally, to get rid of Brandon Manning. Take a 6th and Brandon Manning, that's 6th from Pittsburgh, and Brandon Manning, and take him for a 7th round pick from another team, whether it be conditional, whatever. I'm good with whatever gets $2.25 million off the books. Don't kid me wrong. Guys, if we got rid of Brandon Manning and found a solution for Kyle Brodziak, we have cap space suddenly. We have cap space for the deadline, and that is huge in a word for the Edmonton Oilers, even if no more moves are made. So, that's news item number 1, and I mean, that's another bow tied, if you get where I'm going, right? That's another thing on the offseason that came up and is now fully, completely dealt with. And now we move on to the other news that is breaking news, non-news, whatever news this is. I really don't understand that we're still talking about this when there really isn't anything much of it coming out. But it's news on Jesse Puljujarvi, in which it sounds like he's going to go to Kärpät, and Kärpät is a team in the Finnish League, which is essentially, I believe, his hometown team, which he grew up in the youth system, so it's a logical fit, says David Staples in his article here on the Edmonton Journal. And it just, well, what does this do? This is just a place to play hockey for Jesse Puljujarvi when it comes down to it at the end of the day, in case the Edmonton Oilers decide not to trade him before training camp starts, before the regular season starts. And I believe Finnish League teams are actually starting training camp and exhibition games this week, if I'm not mistaken. I could be out to lunch. I think I saw something on Twitter about some guy in the Finnish League absolutely lighting it up. I think it might have been actually Patrick Sekinen starting on the second line for his Finnish League team, the Oilers prospect, Patrick Sekinen, that is. So there you go. That's another bow tied up on Jesse Puljujarvi for now. This is the story that keeps giving all offseason long. Guys, you want a news piece, you want something to run with if you're the Edmonton Oilers media, if you're a guy like me, if you're a Rumours guy, Jesse Puljujarvi has been bread and friggin' butter all off-season long. Man, my mouth's full. I can't chew anymore because of how much news we're getting out there on Jesse Puljujarvi that really, realistically, guys, is not news. We've known all along Jesse Puljujarvi was going to stay in Europe, play in Finland. If that were the case, the Edmonton Oilers didn't meet his demands. Well, guess what? We've sitting there and we were talking around it, and we've done it a million times in a million ways to Sunday, and here we are still doing it. That's my fault. Hey, I buy into it. But honestly, if the rumor mills are going to talk about it, if every other site on the internet's going to be talking about it, I'm the Oilers guy. I try to brand myself as that. I got to talk about it. I hate talking about it, but it is what it is. So there you go, guys. That is, in a word, what's left. Now, the one question that came up, I think, twice in the comments the past 2 days, which, I mean, I haven't posted since the 6th, and it was kind of flabbergasting to see it come up, which, I mean, not a bad thing, flabbergasting, but just kind of, oh my God, we're getting to crunch time here on it. And it's one thing I want to note before we end up this episode on going into another one, hopefully later tonight, is McDavid, right? We haven't seen much. We haven't heard much. We've seen him at a couple of public events, and he's not skating fully. We'd see a lot of video if he was, especially because Toronto media, I swear, somebody's going to be out there every day hunting him down with a camera, but we haven't seen anything. So what I want to make the point of is, as an Oilers fan, there's two sides to me on this one. There's the side in Calgary, April 6th, that saw Mark Giordano, accidentally or not, I don't want to put Giordano down, great defenseman, great guy, accidentally or not, put Connor McDavid into a post and end his season, whatever was left of the miserable season, don't get me wrong, and now puts the question mark that, is he going to be ready for training camp? My goodness, I haven't heard anything, I'm anxious, this is not good, what if he doesn't start? The panic in me is all about Connor McDavid right now. Whereas the other side is, no news is good news, right? Obviously, if you don't hear news about a guy and no headlines are saying Connor McDavid, 0 for 10 games to start the year, Connor McDavid won't be ready until November 1st, Connor McDavid hasn't skated at all, right? We haven't heard those headlines. We haven't seen them. We haven't had to worry about them. So there we be. We're good. So right now, I'm just kind of in that holding pattern on that. That's my last bow I want tied up. And that might not be tied up till October 3rd, when we play the Vancouver Canucks. God, I hope I got that right. My brain's fried today. It's about 27 degrees plus humidity outside. There's a whiteout this morning driving to work. Yes, I just used whiteout on August 8th. Fog, ladies and gentlemen. But without any further ado, I should not take up more of your time than is required at this point. Guys, definitely, if you're new to the channel, I did a test run of this video. It was terrible. Now I actually feel proud on this one to say, if you're an Oilers fan, you're joining me for the first time because of Jesse Puljujarvi or John Marino from Pittsburgh, whatever, hit that subscribe button. Let's discuss the Oilers in the comments section down below. The goal is 7,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so let's try, by the end of the year, I should say, by the end of August or by the end of September, whichever comes first. Guys, click it. Talk to me in the comments. I'll do a better job of replying to comments today. I am up on out of here.